Hi, my name is Rob, but only for the purpose of this story. You see, my life's a bit complicated, and I can't just tell everyone who I really am. I grew up poor, but then I found out that my dad's the most famous actor in Hollywood. Before anything else, don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell icon to show your support for me. I lived on the wrong side of the tracks for as long as I can remember. My mom left me with my grandma before I could even learn to talk. And my dad? Well, nobody ever really talked about him. They only told me that he died serving the country as a brave soldier. Given that grandma was old and only relied on her pension, we were always living a hand-to-mouth existence. There was never any extra money for anything nice. We existed solely on canned food, instant noodles, and whatever we could get with coupons at the local supermarket. I've never even seen the inside of a Walmart. That's how poor we were. Everything I owned was from the dollar store, and my clothes either came from grandma's friends or the charity shop. At school, I was always ashamed of eating my lunch in public, because I never had any of the snacks the other kids had. My lunchbox was a repurposed ice cream container. I had to hide it in a brown paper bag in case anyone saw. But it wasn't really a secret I was the poorest kid in school. I just felt embarrassed whenever anybody noticed. Not everyone was horrible to me. I actually had a few friends, but the thing was, they were too kind. They always shared their food with me and let me hang out at their place. Their parents would even drive me home or pick me up from school so I didn't have to take the bus. Sometimes they'd bring grandma some casserole or lasagna so we wouldn't starve. Don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful to them. But honestly, it only made me feel worse. Some days, I'd prefer it if they mocked me for being poor instead of taking pity on me. There were of course bullies at my school. What school doesn't have one anyway? Our school had jocks who ruled over everyone. Even some of the teachers were scared of them. One of them was particularly hard on me. He'd always make fun of my lunch. One time he snatched my brown paper bag and pulled out my ice cream box to show everyone. Some people looked embarrassed for me. Others laughed. I felt mortified mostly because Lindy was there. I had a crush on Billy's sister, and it's impossible a crush as they come. I didn't know my main tormentor was her brother. I simply fell head over heels with her because years ago, she smiled at me on our first day of school. Since then, all I could think about was how much I would love to be her boyfriend. And when Billy found out, his appetite for torturing me increased tenfold. Ha! You? Seriously? You have a crush on my sister? Look at this sad excuse of a lunchbox. You're not good enough. You'll never be good enough for my sister. You're poor and you're ugly and your house is smaller than a matchbox. I bet I can level it by just blowing on it. Bet I'd make your grandma cry. Don't you ever talk about my grandma. Billy laughed. Oh? Oh, you're talking back now, huh? He elbowed me and hit me square on the stomach with his knee. I doubled over and fell to the floor. Learn your lesson, you stupid oboe. Come, Lindy. If you look at him too long, the poor will rub off on you. Lindy flipped her hair and looked down her nose at me. But I couldn't help it. I really liked her a lot. Maybe my reasons were just skin deep because I do find her very pretty. But all throughout high school, I tried to get her attention. And every time she'd ignore me or push me away. When we got assigned as partners in chemistry, she begged the teacher to switch with someone else because according to her, I smelled like train tracks. And when I asked her to prom, her friends laughed at me and she slapped me for even trying. But then, one summer, a miracle happened. A limousine pulled up at Grandma's house. And someone I thought only existed in the movies and TV shows was right in front of me. He hugged me, and I tried to get away, afraid that my dirty clothes would ruin his shirt. What's happening? Did we win some sort of charity thing? I remember thinking. But then, I saw the look on Grandma's face. It was a look of recognition. How would my grandma know someone like him? Then, her shock turned into anger. How dare you show up on my doorstep after all these years? Get lost! And good afternoon to you too, Barbara. Don't you dare! Don't you dare tell me now you want to take responsibility for your kid! My heart began to swim. His kid? What did she mean? Me? This guy's kid? Surely she's talking about some other kid. But then, the most famous actor in all of Hollywood cocked his head to the side, and his female bodyguard snatched me from my grandma's arms. They shoved me into the limo and shut the door behind me. I pounded on the window, screaming, but no one could hear me. And I sure as heck wasn't about to break the glass anytime soon. It was bulletproof. The last time I saw my grandma, she was running down the street, shouting at my father to bring me back to her. I cried. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I loved my grandma. I hated Brad. That's what we're going to call him, even though I'm not allowed to tell you who he really is. Brad was a superstar. He's in more movies than any actor I know, and he lives in a sprawling mansion. Just one bathroom in his house was even bigger than my grandma's entire house. At first, I refused to come out of my room. I refused to eat. But then, I fainted from hunger and exhaustion. And from then on, Brad commanded his maids to feed me, even if I refused. Eventually, though, when I calmed down, he finally told me the story of what really happened. Your mom and I were both actors. We wanted to make it big in Hollywood. We shared the same dreams and hopes, so we thought we made a great match. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work out. We had problems, and we fought a lot. And when I finally landed my first big project, she let her jealousy get the best of her. She hated my success and blamed me for her career never taking off. After she had you, she left my house without a word. I tried looking for you. I used all my newfound influence to help find you, but she moved a lot. She hid you from me. Even went as far as to take out restraining orders. And I began to get huge roles in movies. Work became my priority, and I will always blame myself for that. I eventually gave up on ever finding you. But now, I have. And I want to make up for all the years I missed. I didn't want to believe him. But no matter how famous he was for acting, he wasn't that good to be able to fake that kind of thing. His story actually made sense. My mom would always make up flimsy excuses about why we moved so much. And now that I think about it, the story she told me about my dad dying in combat was way too similar to the plot of one of Brad's movies. That school year, the whole school saw me get dropped off in a limo. Jaws dropped. And when Brad waved me off, several phones were taken out to take photos. I was an instant celebrity. The best part was that Lindy spoke to me for the first time. She took a photo of us and posted it on her Instagram. The rumors about my dad gained her 100,000 followers. Even Billy stopped poking fun at me. He actually knelt and begged for my forgiveness. He keeps inviting me to hang out at his dad's lake house now. Lindy and I started seeing each other. I know her sudden change of heart was suspicious, but I didn't care. If your dream girl suddenly wants to hang out with you all the time, the world stops making sense. On my birthday, Brad took me to a private airstrip. He told me to bring my friends, and so I did. I brought my girlfriend, Billy, and some of our classmates. And when I saw what was waiting for us, I was at a loss for words. Idling at the runway was a sleek jet with a massive red ribbon wrapped around it. Happy birthday, son! I know I missed a lot of them, so I hope this somehow makes up for it. I ran up the stairs and inside, I couldn't believe my eyes. My own plane. My very own plane. I couldn't wait to take my new friends to an awesome destination, so we left immediately. But that day, my world also crumbled. We were 30,000 feet into the air, and it was my first time on any plane. So naturally, I wanted to go and see what the cockpit looked like. But on my way there, I passed by the bathroom, and I heard Lindy's voice. She was talking to some guy I didn't even know. I was about to knock when I heard they were talking about me. Chill, babe. You know it's just pretend. But I don't like how he puts his hands around your shoulders. And when he kisses you... You know I'm only doing this for clout. I can be famous and rich. You know I don't like him in the least. You can take the guy out of the slums, but you'll never take the slums out of the guy. He still reeks of train tracks to me. I pushed the door open and told them to get back to their seats. I did manage to see the cockpit and the pilots, but only to tell them to land at the nearest airport. But sir, are you sure? It's an island hundreds of kilometers away from anything. Nah, they deserve it. I dumped all my fair-weather friends on that remote island. It felt especially awesome to see Billy, Lindsay, and the guy she was cheating on me with beg to get back on the plane. I left with my real friends and took them to Hawaii, where we spent an entire weekend surfing, partying, and doing whatever we wanted. Brad eventually forgave Grandma for hiding me, and I was able to get her to live with me at the mansion. I call Brad Dad now, and he seems to like it.